You can do this. All right, everybody, how's it going? This is Professor Dan, bringing you another installment of Professor Dan Presents videos of things that we would have talked about in person if we were still meeting in person. Behind the camera is my trusty compatriot, the boy, with his new iPhone 11 Pro. He has a better phone than me now. Clearly, that is totally inappropriate. Anyway, you can hear him cackling in the background. It's like high-quality professional production right here. Anyway, today, we're going to talk about the family in Plato's Republic. Specifically, we're going to talk about the family as it relates to the guardians. You might remember from my video on Plato's Republic in general, the guardians are the people who are in charge of the city. They're the people who are best suited to be in charge. And they're going to have a very particular family structure. The guardians are going to have marriages which are arranged. Right? They don't marry people of their own choosing. They're actually going to be paired by other guardians, and they're going to be paired up at specifically arranged festivals so that they can match up the best male guardians with the best female guardians. Plato actually, because of one man, one job, ended up in a position where women had to have a share in the power of the city. Very unique in the ancient Greek world to think that. But this meant they had to, according to the same idea, they had to make sure that nobody was doing anything they shouldn't be doing, and that included trying to raise families if they were supposed to be in charge of other parts of the city. So the guardians, but we want the guardians to reproduce because the city needs as many people in the leadership group as it can possibly have. So we're going to arrange them up at festivals, and the marriages are going to be terminal. And what we mean by that is that the marriages were only going to last as long as it took for the pair to conceive a child. And once the child was conceived and the marriage was over, and all the guardian women would give birth around the same time, and so they would not have ordinary families like what we think of as an ordinary family. So the guardians would not know their individual children. Now, what's the purpose of doing this? Well, the guardian's job is to run the city. So their marriages serve the interest of that city rather than themselves. So if they know who their children are and their children are not guardian level children, well, they might become corrupt then. They might put the interest of themselves ahead of the interest of the state. And so that's why they don't get to know who their children are. This whole entire family scheme is a family scheme predicated on making sure that the family benefits the state to its maximum capability, right? That's this version of the family. A guardian could be married to many different people then, depending on who was available to be paired up. But their own individual pleasure was not an important component of this at all. They used festivals so that individual guardians would not become resentful if they never got married or they didn't get paired up with the better female guardians. And they would only last for a certain amount of time. We think of marriage as something that's supposed to last forever, but you can construct marriages however you want. These marriages only lasted until a child was conceived, and then they would end, and then they would get a new marriage at the next festival, and they would not know who their children are so that they wouldn't be tempted to become corrupt. Now, in our next video, we will look at a different conception of marriage. but we'll save that for the next one. So that's all for today from Professor Dan on marriage and family in Plato's Republic.